Hi there, and welcome to this review of the One Way Daily Devotionals from the 9th through to the 13th of August. And we're in chapter 46 of Genesis, and we're at that time where Jacob is blessing his sons because he knows he's about to die, and he wants to do that and wrap up business as far as he's concerned. And in doing this, we've been looking at names given to these boys. And of course, one of the most interesting cases is Benjamin. Benjamin was born to Rachel, and Rachel had a very difficult birth. And although she actually survived the birth itself, and Benjamin was born successfully, sadly, Rachel died immediately afterwards. And with her dying breath, she named her new baby boy Benoni, meaning son of my pain, son of my sorrow, son of my affliction. We can find that out in Genesis 35:18. Now, whilst we can all of us understand and sympathise with her decision and obviously recognise the drastic circumstances that caused her to give such a name, I'm sure that as the child grew up, he was grateful that his father had renamed him Benjamin, meaning son of my right hand, by implication, most favoured son. When naming children, we should take care, because losing one's mother at birth is tragedy enough without bearing a name that would sit upon us like a curse. In the devotional, I made the suggestion, experiment on mice and see whether the negatively or positively named mouse prospers. Perhaps I should publicly withdraw that and say that mice shouldn't be treated badly like that, nor should anybody else. But as we go on, we see that Bilhah was used to produce children before Rachel conceived successfully. And it was her use of Bilhah that would have encouraged Leah to use her maid Zilpah in the same way. Now, Bilhah's name, that means confused or faltering, and she certainly lived up to that when she slept with Jacob's oldest son, Reuben. Now, the result of that little adventure was that Reuben was cursed by his father and deprived of his birthright. As for the meaning of Zilpah's name, well, don't even ask. And I know as I say that it is no good. You really want to know. And we discovered on Tuesday that what it meant was dropping, possibly drooping, although I think that may be a misprint, trickling, a distillation from the mouth. Now look, this is not a joke, this is what these things mean. And if her name really meant dribble, then maybe that's why Reuben chose to sleep with Bilhah instead. In any event, it underlines that to give a child a good start in life, it needs a good name. And there's even research, I think there was research undertaken in America concerning this, which actually backs up this contention. As we continued, we see that there's a successful conclusion to things. The total number of Jacob's direct descendants who went with him to Egypt, out of not counting his sons' wives, was 66. And Joseph had 2 sons who'd been born to Egypt. So altogether there were 70 members, it says in Genesis 46, of Jacob's family in the land of Egypt. Jacob sent Judah on ahead to meet Joseph and get directions to the land of Goshen. It's fabulous, when we obey God and we get a result. And this is really the story of Joseph. He obeyed God and he got a good result. Move on briefly to parental attitudes. Parental attitudes are so important. And I think that many parents will understand the emotion expressed by Jacob to Joseph when he actually said to him, "Now let me die, for I have seen you with my own eyes and know you are still alive." Sometimes I think it's difficult for grown-up children to realize that their parents still can have the same degree of love for them as when they were little dependent children. And this isn't sentimentality, this is just the way we're made as parents. And similarly, that it goes by extension to our grandchildren, that we discover emotions we didn't even realize we have when we get these new little guys coming along, and we get this sense of family then in reality, because we've gone beyond our generation, we've gone beyond our children's generation and seeing a new generation, and that's just so exciting. And our children are, of course, not the little boys or little girls they used to be, and I know that I hope I don't treat my sons like little boys, and if it comes across that way at any time, then I'm sincerely sorry, because it's not my intention. I actually respect them as men of God. I love what they're doing, and I respect what they do, and I always respect their views. I may not always agree with everything that they say, but more often than not, I find that their comments to me are helpful and actually help me in my walk with Jesus and just in living life in general. So I think that it's really cool, and our attitude should be like that, surely, as parents, eager and excited about what our children do, are willing to help them in any way that we can, but not controlling them, not directing what they're doing, not saying, well, if you do what I say, then I'll help you, but otherwise not. No, our help, like our love, should be unconditional. Finally, we looked at this whole thing about the need for grace to accept advice. Do you remember Joseph said to his brothers, look, I'll go and tell Pharaoh that you've all come from the land of Canaan to join me, and I will tell them these men are shepherds and livestock breeders, and you've brought all your flocks with you and your herds, everything you've earned. And he went on, he said, when Pharaoh calls to you and asks what you do, tell him we've been livestock breeders from our youth, as our ancestors have been for many generations. When you tell him this, he will let you live here in the land of Goshen, for shepherds are despised in the land of Egypt. Now, you might think saying that you do what the Egyptians despise is not a very good idea. But it's not giving anything away to say that the brothers were wise to accept Joseph's advice. But you know, when we do accept advice, perhaps particularly from our own children or from our brothers or sisters or some other relative, we need grace to do that, because often we can be caught and thought, oh, what do they know about it? I'm older than them, or I've got more experience than them, or I've always thought they were a bit funny, I didn't think they would have the nous to work out this, so why should I pay attention to them? No, we need grace to accept advice. And part of that grace is just having that little nudge that this is good advice to take, and we'd be well advised to do it. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend, and join with me next week, day by day, as we continue to go through Genesis and discover more about the story of Joseph.